Hello and welcome to today's video introduction to using firewalld on Oracle Linux 8. This video aims to provide a quick overview of firewalld and examples using the more common firewall-command options. So let us get started. A firewall serves as the computer equivalent of a physical wall, gate, or fence to keep intruders out and protect what's inside. In Oracle Linux 8, NF tables replaced IP tables, and firewalld interacts with NF tables directly through the NFT binary. Firewalld is not a firewall replacement, but a wrapper for NF tables and other backends to allow easier management. To view the configured interaction between firewalld and NF tables, open a terminal to your host system. In the following exercises, we use a fully patched Oracle Linux 8 instance on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Type the command sudo space cat space /etc/firewalld/firewalld.conf. In the output, look for the line firewall backend and see firewalld configured to use NF tables as the backend firewall by default. Next, confirm the firewalld service is installed, enabled, and running. Use the command sudo space -E space dnf space list space -- installed space firewalld to show the installed firewalld package. Oracle Linux 8 installs the firewalld package by default on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. After confirming the package installation, type sudo space systemctl space status space firewalld to check the service's state. The service shows loaded and enabled. The service also shows active, which indicates a currently running state. With firewalld installed and running, we can start to gather some information about the system firewall configuration. Start by getting a list of firewall-cmd options by typing sudo space firewall-cmd space --help space pipe space head space -n space 20. The head space -n space 20 limits the help output to only the first 20 lines. You can also use more to allow paging through the help screens. Next, use firewall-cmd to display the state of the firewall. Type sudo space firewall-cmd space -- which displays the result of running. Next, type sudo space firewall-cmd space -- list -all -zones. The zones are pre-constructed rule sets for various trust levels. Examples include home, public, work, trusted, and several others. Administrators can also apply zones to different network interfaces, such as internal and external or internet. To show the default zone, type sudo space firewall-cmd space -- get -default -zone. To get the default zone's configuration, type sudo space firewall-cmd space -- zone equals public space -- list -all. The configuration shows the public zone set to active and used by the ENS3 network interface. By default, the firewall blocks all traffic and allows traffic based on predefined rules for specific network services. The default services available are shown by typing sudo space firewall-cmd space -- get -services. These default services have configuration files located at sudo space ls space -l space /user /lib /firewalld /services. Users can create custom services and place configuration files at /etc /firewalld /services. To see a list of services enabled on the firewall, type sudo space firewall-cmd space -- list -services. The results currently only show the SSH service enabled. To enable direct access to the cockpit service, type sudo space firewall-cmd space -- zone equals public space -- add -service equals cockpit. Running sudo space firewall-cmd -- zone equals public space -- list -services again now shows the cockpit service successfully added. Note that this change only impacts the runtime firewall configuration. Changes that only impact the runtime firewall configuration is lost when the firewalld process restarts or the system reboots. To make the service edition of Cockpit permanent, type sudo space firewall-cmd space --zone equals public space --add -service equals cockpit space --permanent. Reverse this action and remove the service by typing sudo space firewall-cmd space --zone equals public space --remove -service equals cockpit space --permanent. And sudo space firewall-cmd space --zone equals public space --remove -service equals cockpit. To ensure this change impacts both the runtime and permanent configuration, run the command with and without the --permanent option. Ensure the changes take effect by typing sudo space firewall-cmd space --zone equals public space --list -services. The cockpit service is no longer displayed, and only the SSH service remains. Besides adding and removing services, firewall-cmd also allows or denies arbitrary ports or protocols. You can test this by typing sudo space firewall-cmd space --zone equals public space --add -port equals 1313/TCP. Confirm the change by typing sudo space firewall-cmd space --zone equals public space --list -ports. Revoke this change by typing sudo space firewall-cmd space --zone equals public space --remove -port equals 1313/TCP. If your firewall setup stops working or you wish to revert all of your changes, run a simple sudo space firewall-cmd space --reload command, or firewall service restart will reapply the permanent working configuration. Once your new firewall setup is complete and working as needed, you can promote the runtime configuration to permanent by typing sudo space firewall-cmd space --runtime -2 -permanent, which saves it to disk. Note that reversing this action is not easy, so use it with caution and make sure your runtime configuration works as needed. Lastly, firewall-cmd allows port forwarding, masquerading, rich rules, and direct interface to NF tables. Discussing these additional features goes beyond the scope of this video. That completes this presentation and introduction to using firewalld. Thank you for watching this video and enjoy using Oracle Linux 8. Please check our additional information on Oracle Linux 8 in the Oracle Linux 8 documentation or Oracle Linux Learning Library.